Good morning and welcome back to the Now Morning Show, where the Tobago Civil Net has partnered with Eastern Credit Union for their upcoming virtual four-part crime symposium entitled Turning the Tide of Crime and Violence in Tobago, a Public Health Approach. This morning, we're joined by Civil Net Chair Rodney Pigott and one of the symposium's presenters, Quincy Joseph. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning. Thank you for the airtime.
It is absolutely necessary because this is an endeavor where you are partnering to be part of the solution, and we truly appreciate that. But I will begin with you, Rodney, giving us a little insight as to how the partnership came about and how it should be expressed towards curbing crime.
All right, very good. Thank you. And again, good morning to Trinidad and Tobago and to your worldwide audience. As you know, Tobago, well, the nation actually has been rocked with a level of violent crimes that one would say is approaching, if not already there, epidemic level. It's just far too much for a nation of 1 million plus people. That has now reared its head in the Tobago space, which has not seen this number of crimes before. We're now at 25 murders for the year. So that's practically 2 murders a month plus. So it's just a bit too much. And especially in the Tobago space where, visitors come from far and wide, including Trinidad, to what they consider to be clean, green, serene, a place where they could come and relax and shake off the hustle and bustle of the rat race and the cosmopolitan type of lifestyle and just kind of lay back. And so when Tobago is now recording this level of violent crimes, this is really disheartening. So as early as November 2023, CivilNet saw this coming, and we put in place a plan to have a actual physical symposium where we wanted to bring over Dr. Ulrich Johnson of Boston. He's a Trinidadian. But he's a worldwide lecturer and deals with the matter of gang violence. And his specialty is promoting the public health approach to violent crimes. And we want to bring him over, as well as Dr. Wendell Wallace. And of course, the budget for that, and we're going to have a workshop where we invited all the stakeholders, the police and everyone, and have a breakout session at which we will then develop an action plan out of that, guided by Dr. Ulrich. The budget for that was beyond where CivilNet could actually afford. We hadn't even begun really collecting serious dues at that point. And so we attempted to partner with the Division of Health. That didn't work out. We cast a net to see other sponsors will come on board and help us to promote this. The only sponsor that responded was Eastern Credit Union, that responded and said, here, this is what we can do. It's not much, but this is what we can do. And because that's the amount that we were working with, we now had to retrofit, redesign our approach. We couldn't do it physically because we could not bring Dr. Ulrich over for the kind of money that we had. So we then decided to go into a virtual presentation, and that gave us now the ability to add some more features to it. And so this is where we are now, where we've decided to do a virtual presentation with 4 sessions. And our first session is what we're talking about this morning with Brother Quincy Joseph of No Youth Left Behind. And I'm sure he can speak on who he is very, very well.
I hope he does, because Quincy and I would have met many, many years ago while he was looking at spreading messages of positivity and progress through music. And so, given your history, Quincy is actually an ex-convicted federal prisoner turned to youth leader. You definitely can speak from experience, not just of mistakes or choices that you made that you would have done differently, perhaps, but also of the successes of the choices that you have made now. As a speaker, Quincy, tell me a little bit as to what the session will look like in your presentations.
In my presentation, good morning again. In my presentation, as always, I come with a unique perspective based on my unique experience. I try to be relatable as possible, even to the babe and suckling. So I'm coming to bring my experience from the point of view where we are looking at solutions. I would have met with the team, the CivilNet team. I want to commend the team this morning for taking that initiative to exact some sort of responsibility for the situation on the island. So I would have met with the team. They seem to be very clear and very have a great understanding of what they need, what is needed. And after the first meeting, it was a no-brainer. This was something that I needed to be a part of. So the first session, again, I'm going to be focusing on appealing to the youths, but also to the parents, because this solution is not one side. It's like an equation. Is both numbers on either side of the. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to working with the CivilNet and any other entity or individual that is serious about taking back control, not of just Tobago, but of the country, Trinidad and Tobago. And, I like how the president, the chairman started this morning when he didn't just mention Tobago, he mentioned Trinidad and Tobago, because, again, this problem is not a Trinidad problem, it's not a Tobago problem, it's not a Plymouth problem, it's not a Labrador problem, it's our people problem. So, again, I must, commend the organizers for having me on board, but for taking this initiative. So I encourage people to tune in and share and experience, as together we aspire, together we try to achieve.
Now, Rodney, this is one of the, well, actually, the very first topic that you'll be covering will be whether or not gang violence is worth the price. And we might know the answer to that question, but when we explore that more thoroughly, it will bleed into other conversations. So besides Quincy, could you tell me about some of the other speakers that will be featured in the sessions?
Absolutely, absolutely. So as I was saying, and I yielded the stage to Quincy to sort of introduce himself there, to put some more meat on the bones so that people can be aware of the 4 sessions that we designed. The first one is by Quincy Joseph, and what we wanted to do with him was we wanted to look at the gang violence that we know is really driving a lot of these violent crimes, the drive-bys and so forth. Most of that is gang related. And so what we wanted to do was to look at gang violence and involvement in gang through the eyes of someone who was on the inside of that type of lifestyle, or what they call the street life. So someone who was on the inside, deep on the inside, benefited from it, right? So it paid him, right? But it also exacted a cost for that payment that his criminal activity brought him, right? So he did the crimes, he did the times, and now he has a change of mind towards that type of life. and is now using the rest of his time on this planet to do his very best to ensure that other youth do not simply reach for the bling, reach for the payment, reach for what they see on TV, the lifestyle and how things look, the glitz and the glamour, but also show them a stark picture of what it actually is on the inside, what really goes on the inside. And then when the taxman comes, and the saying is, we live and you die and you pay taxes. Those are the two things in life. You have to pay tax and you have to die. So when that taxman comes, you can't tell the taxman, no, I don't have nothing for you. The taxman will take your soul if you have nothing material to give it. It will take everything that you have. It will take your loved ones and so forth and so forth. And so this is the angle that we wanted to come from on this first one.
Right.
And so we're really calling on a lot of youth and parents, as you said, to come out and be a part of that. The second phase now, which will be on next Tuesday or the 19th,
Right.
we wanted now on Monday, we wanted to look at the violence from a cultural lack. We want to look at it through the eyes and say to society, the youth or the fruit is performing this way. The fruit tastes bitter, tastes sour, because the roots fed them bitterness and sourness or lack of sweets, lack of nutrients. I have a sapodilla tree that is performing poorly, and someone told me because it's not getting enough water in the roots. So they're not filling out, they're just coming very small and so forth. So the fruits are going to reflect what the roots are feeding them. So this gentleman, Dr. David Muhammad, a very powerful individual, he is actually the Caribbean representative of the Nation of Islam and the director of the Black Agenda, a very powerful voice in the Trinidad and Tobago space. So he's going to come from that cultural perspective and tell us the untold truth of our society's failure to develop our youth. So let's not point the finger at the mother or the father or the youth itself. Let us all take responsibility, because where the formula of the village raising the children has not changed. The fact that the village is not raising the children does not mean that there's a new paradigm in place that is going to be successful. This has been a successful paradigm done through time. Everyone must be involved in raising the child, not just the mother. So I really deplore people who point the finger and say it's the mother's fault, it's the father's fault, it's the home. That is the sole responsibility. The society must take responsibility for that. And then our third session now will be on the 19th, and this is with Ms. Camille Swap. And she is going to speak on joyful learning as an antidote to failing, ailing, and misbehaving among the youth. So she's now looking at it through the school environment and coming from that direction now, and saying that sweetness, that nutrients, that the roots is not feeding feeding the fruits. A lot of that is in the school system itself. We like to boast and talk about how Norway and Sweden are doing so well with their school systems. Well, how are they actually feeding their youth in their school systems? The colors on the very walls of their classrooms is cultural to them. So the children feel something when they step into the classroom. It's not just bare and bland, okay? And the way they go about teaching their children, I'm sure their history is not about the hard times they had. They also teach them about when they were on top of the world. So they give them that inspiration and that confidence in themselves and so forth. So the school system is very, very important. And then our fourth session, which will be on December 3rd, will culminate and pull all of that together. And that will be the public health approach to crime and violence with Dr. Ulrich Johnson. And he is the founding director of Transformative Counseling, coaching and consultant. He's also the founder and director of Teens Against Gang Violence, which is a peer leadership, youth, and family program, right? So these 4 episodes now is all going to be rapporteured, and we're going to pull them all together into a sort of document, if you will. We're going to document what has been discussed, the solutions that have been offered in all 4 of these episodes, and we're then going to present that to the public, to our governments, and say, look, this is something that we have to offer. We had 4 very dynamic presenters that came from various angles to look at this violent crime situation. We hope that you take it to task and see to it that the information is then disseminated throughout the public space. And this is all going to be virtual. The Zoom link will be presented to those. Stakeholders are going to be invited, and it's going to be taking place from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on those Mondays, as I just described. You have the ad, Ayana, you have everything there, the flyers and so forth.
Yes.
And we hope that TTT will share that with its viewers throughout the day and leading up to the events.
Well, we have shared the visuals with the dates and times, and the number that they can connect is 732-7630. So let me say, gentlemen, thank you very much for collaborating and lending your efforts towards solutions and information we could use. Best of luck with each session, and thank you again for being on the Now this morning.
Thank you
very much.
We would have been joined by Mr. Rodney Piggott, the chairman of the Tobago Civil Net, along with Quincy Joseph, the youth leader for No Youth Left Behind, and one of the speakers at the Turning the Tide of Crime and Violence in Tobago symposium that is happening online. Congratulations in advance for being part of the solution and offering some information that we can use, gentlemen, and best of luck.
Yeah, man, big up Civil Net every time, because they always come around with solutions, they always come around with analysis, and I really appreciate that for them, because it's not partisan in any way. It's not about any particular political party. It's always just about the people, and especially people of Tobago. So big up to Tobago Civil Net. Great job. Keep it up. All right, guys. We're getting ready because we're wrapping up the week tomorrow. We have an amazing show, so I know you're going to be looking out for it. On tomorrow's edition of the Now Morning Show, we'll be chatting about an educational fashion event that's happening. Roots Yard is coming up as well, and they have a very special guest because Burning Spear is coming to Trinidad to be in Roots Yard. So you can look forward to that. Also, the Logos Hope is coming back to Trinidad. You can look forward to that if you're interested in reading. And then we have a brand new release from Eldon Blackman and Parang Queen, Marcia Miranda. So you can look out for all that and more tomorrow on the Now Morning Show, Friday edition. Right now, though, we take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to give you one more thing to add to your calendar for tomorrow. Well, for Saturday.
Yes.
Yes. So stay tuned.